And we're going on, guys. We still got two speakers, so I hope your energy levels are still high up. We're gonna, work on the blood circulation in your hands. Actually, I wonder, do you know, we had one speaker who went from physicist to a developer, and our next speaker, you could ask a question: can a civil engineer become a great big data engineer? And it turns out that he sure can. And next speaker will take us, I think, on a nostalgic ride back to the past. I'm going to ask here, I do see some of you. Anybody here played the game Tibia? Hands up. Some did, yeah, so it's okay, some did. Well, the thing is, for sure, most of you that have played other, massive multiplayer role-playing games, it takes loads of time, right? And not all of this time that you have to put in is equally exciting. Some parts are pretty damn boring. So our next speaker has a solution for that. He used the Scala language to automate some parts of playing the game. And of course, he has to be on the lookout for the game masters who don't like people doing that, but probably that gives a bit of excitement to all of these endeavors. So he'll tell you why he did it, and I think you just can welcome him with a big round of applause. Krystian Warda, our data engineer at JIT team.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, I can hear myself. Measure time. Okay, hello, my name is Krystian Warda. I'm a member of JIT team. I work in fintech. I was working in Citibank. Right now I got an opportunity. I was working in Citibank in Python and Spark, but right now I got an opportunity to work in JIT team on Nordea project with Scala and Spark. Today, I came here to present you my project, and the presentation is called Scala for Automation. Scala for Automation, developing a new type of Tibia game bot, leveraging object-oriented and functional programming. So first, I will introduce you a little bit to my project. Then I would like to ask 4 why questions. Next, I want to tell you about how my bot is different than the bots which are already on the market. Next, I'll tell you a story about reverse engineering, so hacking the Tibia game and communication with it. Next, I will tell you about how I designed the Scala software for this bot, and I will give you some examples of object-oriented programming and functional programming, which I have used. And at the end, I will tell you about future plans and for development. Okay, so as I said, it's a purely personal project. I'm not selling anything to you today. I started it. Let's go with the presentation. Automation of playing computer games. So yeah, the project is focusing on playing the game by itself by moving a mouse and a keyboard. I've been working for it nearly 8 months, which the hacking part of the game took 7 months. So it was 7 months until I started to do actual Scala. Project is not finished, so it's ongoing. I learn doing it, so I started it to learn, to be honest. So it's like a playground for me, which I testing new features, functional programming, object-oriented programming, and it's constantly evolving. And yeah, sometimes I have to destroy some part, to go back and destroy some part to refactor it in a better way, as I did before. Okay, so why Scala? I was data engineer in the city using Python, and I interested in going into big data field, big data engineering field, and I've seen that Scala is a huge part of it. So that's the first reason. The second reason is learning opportunity. I learned Python by doing side projects, and I figured out I must find another side project to learn Scala, because that's how I learn. And the third part is concurrency. I knew that I need a programming language which enables multiple processes at the same time. Python is doing it, but in Scala, it's much easier. Okay, so why Tibia? I've seen many hands up, like 10, so it's good. It's a MMORPG, and as Ola said, it takes a lot of time to gaining experience. You have to kill a lot of monsters. You have to do a lot of boring stuff. You have to put a lot of hours. The game was created in '97 by Cipsoft. It's a German company. The peak of the number of players was in 2007. It was 60K, and in what countries the game was popular? It was popular in Brazil, Spanish language countries, in Sweden, and in Poland, not in Germany, by some reason. And if there is a Brazilian or Swedish people in chat watching the stream, I see you. So player base right now is really small. Nobody's playing that. Maybe the average age of the player is like 30, like between 25 and 35, or even older. And it's a 2D game. So it's like 2D, but it has levels, so we can switch levels between levels. Let's go with why Tibia bought as a side project. So when I was a kid, I was playing the game, and I was using bot like many years ago. So I knew that hacking this game is possible. That's the important thing, because sometimes if you like hack Assassin's Creed, you don't know if it's possible, or even the security measures taken by the Steam or companies are higher right now. Nostalgia. So when I see Tibia, I see myself as a kid with no responsibilities, playing computer games with my brother. So that was one of the best times of my life. We've played many years in it. It's no financial benefits. It's just pure passion for solving the issues. Sorry. So I knew what elements in the game I can automate, and it helped me a lot. A 2D environment is easier for automation than 3D games, so that's another point. And there are online servers, so this allowed me to rapid testing. So I can log in, test some functionality, log out, and it's just ideal environment for development. So why to use bot? So it might be difficult to understand for someone who hasn't played like such a games. Mainly it gives you an edge over everybody else. It gives you an edge with fighting creatures, but fighting other players as well. It auto heals you, so you're dying less times, and it helps you to target enemies, like creatures and players. It saves time on the repetitive action, which Ola said, like walking around the cave, killing creatures. You have to kill 1,000, and by getting experience, you're leveling up. New quests for you are unlocked. So it's like working, right? Imagine you could like sleep during 8 hours of your work, and then get the money and do whatever you can, right? It's not like work is boring. I like my job, but it's just automation of boring tasks, like making runes, fishing, training. So this is what bot does. And allows players to away from keyboard. So when you're logged in and you go to bathroom, there's a high risk that somebody kills you because you're AFK. Another thing is alerts. So when you're doing one thing and the Tibia bot is running on the second computer, it gives you a warning that something is happening, which you don't like. Right now, I will talk briefly. We'll come back to this slide, but briefly, you look at it, you can see it on the left side, like typical bot which are on the market, and my bot, which I'm creating. First thing, you can see that typical bot is interacting with typical bot. It's a game, like a file environment, and it's written in C++. So you use Lua language to interact with this game. What they've done is to write code in Lua, which, for example, if you have lower health, then something action immediately happens. Normally, it shouldn't be that way if you're not using bot. My bot, what it's doing differently is that instead of sending information to the game itself, it's sending to this C++ file. This took 7 months to develop. What it is a TCP server, which gets the information from the game, serialize it to binary, send it to Scala, and this is like 30 pages of Word, I would say. So it's semi-large, and it's going to Scala, and based on that, Scala is making the decisions, and it's sending commands to keyboard and to mouse, which interact with the game. So, what makes my bot different than other thing? Recently, the game masters and the owners of the server introduced something like VAR system. It's recording all your activity inside the game. It's recording your keyboard actions and mouse actions. So, previously, when there is a bot, it would be easily spotted if someone is using it because it lacks of mouse movement. You can see an example, for example, bottom right. To heal yourself, you have to move your mouse over an item, like magic rune, right-click, and put it on yourself. If that move lacks, somebody heals, it indicates that it has a bot. Similar with attacking someone. You have to click the magic rune, and then attack other person. So automating mouse movement and keyboard is not enough. If somebody is watching how you move your mouse, it has to be as human-like as possible. So I introduced custom random mouse jiggle when there's no action. As a normal human being, when he's watching a page, he sometimes moves the mouse, sometimes not. It has to be random. Custom mouse path from point A to point B. And if you imagine how you use your mouse in your computer. Let's see the bottom right example. If you want to move a mouse from point A to point B, first you speed, you make a fast move, and when you're over the icon, you slow down. So this can be randomized to make each move different, but this is what you can encode. The second thing is, sometimes if you want to click an icon, it's over-exaggerated, but you move past the target and slowly move back. So that's another way to imitate human-like behavior. And the move can't be moved in a straight line. Normally, you have a point of rotation with like your wrist or elbow. So what custom situations? So another part of how Game Master can test if you're a bot or not is that it puts you in a strange situation, like not usual one, and it checks if how you act on it. Disclaimer, before I put a video. Game Master is invisible for a player, but it's on the screen. I'm sure he is because I'm gonna get banned. And Monster does not randomly disappear and reappear on the screen. It happens out of the sight of the player. And if you can see, probably I'm sleeping right now, since it's running in the background. The troll appeared, and disappeared. So Game Master summoned a troll, and the bot is trying to attack it. And it's, again, disappearing the bot, disappearing the troll, and the bot is running. It's 100%, he's 100% sure I am bot, so you have been banished. I implemented custom situation-like strategy. For example, when I'm following if the creature is dead or it's disappeared. If it's disappeared, I'm like breaking everything, like stopping auto-target, healing, and everything. And I try to act as a human, like stand, question mark, and other things like rotating yourself and so on. So you custom them the initial reaction. Okay, what makes my bot different? Okay, we came back to the same slide, not by, we came to the same slide. I would like to talk about first, so we will talk about it. During the next slides, I will refer to this slide with a yellow object which I'm talking about. The next slide, we'll talk about this part, which handles sending information from the game to TCP server. So it's a Lua. Lua code is lightweight. Lua code is lightweight scripting language that is frequently embedded in C++ application. To interact with a game, you're not using C++, you're using much more simpler language, Lua. As you can see, maybe I'll laser you. You can use game objects. So there are some of them are exposed, some of them are not. Some functions are exposed, some are not. In this case, you can have a game object, you can get a function, get attacking creature, so get an object of a monster which you're attacking. You can get his name, ID, health percent, position in game, and check if it's player or it's monster. And you can see an output here. I put it in a JSON, which later on is serialized and sent to Scala. And we are here, the yellow mark where we are. Okay, right now we'll talk about Scala actors with Akka library, which been here mentioned many times. So on the left, there's an example actor which I'm using. It's called Action Keyboard Manager. Actually, it's in this part. What it does is it receives information from JSON processor actor. And it's, for example, you can type something on keyboard, you can move arrows, right? You move yourself, and you can push many buttons. So, for example, Control and L to log out from the game, and press Control and arrows. So there are multiple cases with which it receives, and Control with arrows to rotate itself in the game. It's a mechanic. But I would like you to focus on this part, whole. We have a game with our injection, which sends us stream data every 0.3 second. It's going to periodic function where it's decoded, and if everything matches the expected schema, it's sent it to JSON processor actor. JSON processor actor is a main actor which processing the data every 0.3 second. And it can decide to send some messages to other actors. I have actor autoresponder, which is connected to ChatGPT, and it's funny because it keeps track of the dialogue, it keeps track of when the message came, and other things. And the issue is that it takes the time to generate an answer, for example, 3 seconds, and it returns the answer, and when the answer is received, it says it. I have an Action Keyboard Manager, Action Mouse Manager, Alert Sender Actor. You can generate alerts when something is happening in the game on the screen. For example, Discord alert. So I can have alerts on my phone. It's sending a message to Discord. I have created a special chat for it, and I have notification on my phone every minute, for example. And Key Listener Actor, for example, to stop the bot. Because if you spotted some dangerous situation, you want immediately to stop. And for example, double tap escape button. Okay, I don't want you to read it, but I will explain what you're seeing. This is like the the heart of JSON processor actor. It runs through all these functions every 0.3 seconds. It's divided into 3 sections: core functions, advanced functions, and utility functions. So as a core function, I understand auto-healing, so you will not be dead. Game master detector. So for example, if something is detected at this level, it stops every single action below for some time until it's reversed. And a guardian. Guardian is alert system. We have advanced actions like cavebot, auto-target, team hunt, and auto-loot. And we have utility functions like training, boring stuff, making runes, autoresponder, and chat reader. So if we have a heart, we would need a blood. So those 3 main elements are blood of this project. It's JSON, which is coming from Tibia game. It stores everything which is happening in the game. Settings, by what I mean UI settings, so the settings which user is setting up. And a state. State is very important because it travels with information from one loop to another. So it's constantly changing. I have written UI in Scala Swing, and somebody in the coffee break told me nobody's using Scala Swing. You're the only person which is still using Scala Swing. It's like old library, but I use it, and I don't like it. Probably I will go with Calico. So this is like basically how I create a tab. You define component, you define number of rows, and you like incrementing, you're adding buttons, drop downs, and so on. And you can see 3 UI Windows tabs. The main tabs, which functionality you want to turn on. You have a cavebot functionality, which in this example, like showing how the bot should go around the cave, and it's also showing which tiles you can walk on, which you don't walk on, right? The red ones. And on the bottom right, it's like auto-target settings, which is responsible for managing auto-target. So for example, when there is like 1 rat, you behave differently, but when there are like 3 rats and they encircle you, you behave differently. You can loot monsters immediately or after fight, like when nothing is on the screen. So you can decide what magic rune to use on which monster, so it's quite extensive. First object, the main object, is UI settings. Yeah, I don't go to the object functions and so on. I just use this object to store information. The case classes are on red because to be honest, I don't know if it should be object or case classes at this level. So it's nested. It looks like nested JSON. It stores information, and on the right side you can see the idea how I use it in the code. So for example, from JSON I extract character info health % to integer, and if the health % is lower, then I go to settings and I go if it should use health potion. And in Guardian, similar thing, I extract from settings information about if player wants a sound effect when something else on the screen. If yes, it goes deeper. The next object is processor state. I don't like this one because I haven't figured out it yet, like fully. It's constantly changing, so there's an urge for me to make it as variable, but I know it's not in line with functional programming. So I struggle a little bit with it. I haven't decided of the final idea of it. But again, it's the same as settings, but the idea is that it should constantly change. It shares information from one loop to another. And on the right, you have 2 examples. For example, I'm generating subway points from point A to point B on a map, how to move your character. And then on the next line, I can use it. So it's constantly changing, and it can be used in the same line after change. And usage in AutoHeal, you have an example how I design like mouse action. In this case, it's AutoHeal. So you can see run X and run Y. So it's like screen location of the rune. It's going to the rune, right click, and it's moving to the character and left click. It's like how to heal yourself with rune mechanism. And at the end, I'm updating last heal use time as the current time. The JSON it's like a really extensive one. I will talk briefly about it. For example, it's just character info. So the location of the character inside the game is his health and so on. When we go to second one, you have to take a look at the map. The grid is added by me. So the game itself is like grid-based, so every tile has its location in the whole map. And this is what you can see here, for example. But every monster is on a tile. It has a tile, but it also have location on your screen. So, for example, if you move this on your big screen, if you move this window, this will change. So it's giving you relative from your top left screen location of specific item on the screen. So it's really crucial when you want to integrate mouse into like playing game, right? Simulating mouse movements. And on the bottom is the same thing, but for the battle, it stores information about the creature, his position, health, ID of the object, and here are the XY location on the screen. Again, similar thing for items, which you have in your backpack. In your equipment, the same, and the chat information. So, for example, it tells you what chat you have focused on, what messages is there, if there is unread message like here, so on. So, going to software, this is like small functional programming example when I use function inside and input. Trigger alert if. So we have a condition. And we have an alert action. If the condition is met, alert action is triggered. The condition is, for example, if someone is on the screen. Inside alert action, you have you update state last alert time because assume it's triggered. You're getting UI settings, and you're checking which alert is on. For example, screen sound or Discord alert. An output can be like sending a message to an actor, like sound or Discord, but it can be an action, like move back to your house or say something to Game Master or to other player if he appeared on the screen. So when you're killing monster, you have to loot it. So I divided into a few parts. First is state of looting and state of plundering. You have to know a little bit about the game. You can see this is actually from the bot. It's to open a monster, you have to move the mouse on its carcass, and then press Control, and the window appears, which you have to click Open. This is how you open it. And previously, I write the code in like one block, and it was difficult. It was like smelly code, much more smelly than this one. It was hell to edit. It was a nightmare. So I decided to split logic from an action, and by creating these rails, like these cases of the state looting, I switch between them. So, for example, opening carcass is finished with the loot plunder state. It's overwritten. And yeah, this railing allowed me to have a better control over my bot. And the same with loot plundering. So you open the dead creatures, and you can see there's a lot of mouse movements. You drag some elements, you open a bag inside the creature. So there's a lot of movements which you can't do at the same time, which have to come one by one in the sequence. So there are some problems which I have encountered, but I haven't solved it yet. Like, give me a second. Action overlap from delayed state update. So if you take a look at this simple graph, the yellow dots is the points where you received a JSON from the game. The blue dot is like a factor which triggered an action, which will trigger the action. So we have it triggers an action, and it takes 1 second, for example, to heal, to move mouse on a rune and on yourself. It takes 1 second, for example. A lot of is happening, but you already receiving another 2, and you don't want to have free time. You don't want to heal yourself 3 times. You want to heal yourself once. So I was thinking about how to solve it. I proposed potential solutions like confirmation that the intended action took place, or add a cooldown on some action. So, for example, if I add 1 second cooldown on an action, it can prevent it. But it's not final solution. It's like temporary, I would say. Another thing is timing issue. Item position changes mid-move. So imagine you want to click on the screen something, like a player, but it's moving when you're moving your mouse. And I would need to design such a thing that if with each loop, the location of the B is amending. It's not like additional action, but it has to detect that this action was triggered and just update the screen location of the target to make it a small move. And that's the interesting thing, because normally the cursor should go like this, right? If it's updated, not like this, because it would be fake. Future plans of this project. Implement unit tests for more improved reliability. Not to play whack-a-mole every time when I change something. You have to extinguish the fire somewhere else. Integrate Jenkins for automated deployment control, probably only for my own learning purposes, because I rarely use Jenkins and I want to learn it. Use Terraform to launch a bot instance on the cloud. That's a challenge, and I would like to learn more Terraform, so I figure out that could be an interesting task. Refactor code base to reduce technical debt and smelly code. As I said, this is like playground. I learn by knowing this project. It's not perfect, but I believe if I will work in it 2 years, my skills in Scala and functional programming will develop. And use more functional programming principle in the code. That's my. And this is, sorry for the quality. We not only came back to the future, to the past regarding the game, but also to the quality of the video. What you can see here, I will play it soon. It's like 4 examples, 4 virtual machines on a single machine. So I have a laptop. I turn on Hyper-V. I run 4 machines at the same time. So I have 4 mouses and 4 keyboards separately, apart from my own. So it can go in the background, and on second monitor I can do something else. And it's, for example, instances of the same bot. And why I'm doing it? Because you can see it's night. I will tell you, because you don't see it. It's night, it's paladin, it's druid, and it's sorcerer. When you're using like 4 professions, because there are only 4 professions in Tibia of the character which you're playing, you have a perk, like more experience for killing the same creatures. So that's why. And the second one is that it's easier to gain experience doing it with 4 characters. Druid is healing, paladin is shooting from distance, knight is blocking, sorcerer is like dealing damage. And Yeah, it's not perfect. I had to record this video before the presentation. So it's not working there. The auto looting is broke. I suspect why. Because in each virtual machine, I didn't want to see the start button, so I pressed Ctrl F to make it full screen, and it broke auto looting completely. There will be an error of over here soon, but generally there's creatures, and all of them are targeting. You can see the mouse, because when you're recording OBS, a virtual machine on Hyper-V, the mouse is disappearing. So I had to install specific tool which tracked the mouse movement. And again, you can see that it shoots different runes. For example, this is like one rune for different monster, different rune. Okay, I will wrap up this presentation with a quote of engineer, which started his journey about when he was 17 years old. He's my age. He is the creator of Tibia Xenobot. And this is the quote from his forum. Generally, he created very successful bot. He had 2,000 users for his bot. And this is what he said. I fell in love with this game when I was 11 years old. I met a handful of my closest friends socializing, exploring dungeons, killing monsters, and fighting enemy guilds for glory. But it's not the same game anymore. There's no friends to make because every player is a bot. I have made the decision to never go down the same road again. I love hacking games, but I also love playing them. And I don't want to get to the point where my bots pose a threat to the playability of the game. The project is available on my GitHub. Not everything is there, so you'll not be able to run it. There's only Scala. There's no Lua code, which has thousands of lines. There's no C++, so this is only Scala code. And yeah, you can reach out to me on GitHub and LinkedIn, and that will be it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Krystian. So you guys, maybe if you're playing some other games and you want to create your bot just for educational purposes, it's good to have a chat with Krystian before you go down that road, right?
Exactly.
It'll be quicker and faster. Do we have maybe 1 minute for a question? Do you have any? There is a question here. Let's take one question and then we'll go to our last presentation. Yeah.
Hello. Is it possible to use reinforcement learning for this project?
Yeah. I was thinking about it because I'm not storing information about it right now. But if I can store information in database about what is happening on the screen and store information, what actions, how I move my mouse, and how to connect the information about the screen and information about what bot is doing, in the future, it is possible. I was thinking about it. But it's a long road. Yeah. And again, it's very difficult. Tibia is, because the gaining experience is only one part of the game, but it's a much larger world. And some of the things you do it once, and there might be not information about it. But yes, I was thinking about it to create those data and send it to, or put it on Kaggle when there's a data exposure, and for some machine learning engineer which would be interested in joining the project. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. So thank you once again, Krystian. Big round of applause.
Thank you.